تصور کنید با یه شخص کره‌ای ازدواج کردید، کسی که عاشقش شدید و بهتون قول بهترینا رو داده. به خاطرش میرید کره، زندگی مشترکتون رو شروع میکنید و اولش عالی پیش میره. اما یهو همه چیز تغییر میکنه. با بحثای کوچیک شروع میشه و به مرور رفتارهای پرخاشگرانه تر تا نهایتا تبدیل به آزار فیزیکی میشه. میخوای بری که از خودت و بچت محافظت کنی، اما تو این قضیه تو فقط با اون شخص طرف نیستی، با کل سیستم طرفی. این آدم نه فقط تو رو بلکه بچه‌هات هم تهدید میکنه و اگه به پلیس گزارش بدی دیگه بچه‌هاتو نمیبینی، چون قانون طرف اونه. متاسفانه این فقط پرونده یک نفر نیست. ماجرای خیلی از دخترایی که از کشورهای مختلف به کره مهاجرت و اونجا ازدواج کردن. خشونت خانگی مشکل جهانیه، تو همه کشورها هست، اما وقتی بعضی پیچیدگی‌های قانونی رو بهش اضافه می‌کنی تبدیل میشه به یک کابوس. برخلاف تصور اکثریت به لطف فیلم و سریال‌ها، خشونت خانگی تو کره جنوبی مشکل خیلی رایج و بزرگه، طوری که از هر 4 زن 1 نفرشون در طول عمرش این قضیه رو گزارش میکنه، یعنی 25%. این فقط گزارش‌های ثبت شده است. خیلی از زن‌ها سکوت میکنن، حالا از ترس یا به خاطر آبرو. و البته مهاجرا با مشکلات خیلی بیشتری مواجه میشن. از سال 2013 تا 2019 بیش از 21,000 مورد خشونت خانگی فقط توسط مهاجرین گزارش شد. علاوه بر اینا گرفتن حضانت بچه برای خارجی‌ها یه معضل بزرگه، چون با قوانینی مواجه میشن که طرف کره‌ای‌ها رو میگیره. ویدیوی امروزمون یه مقدار متفاوته. قرار ماجرا رو از زبان خود قربانی بشنوید، البته زیرنویس میکنم براتون و بیش از هر چیزی جنبه آگاه سازی داره. این کیس رو انتخاب کردم چون حدوداً 1-2 ماه پیش تو اینستاگرام یه ویدیویی گذاشتم در رابطه با یه قاتل سریالی کره‌ای. ظاهراً یه قاتل سریالی تو کره جنوبی شروع کرده به شکار دخترای جوان. و زیر این ویدیو صدها کامنت هست، اکثرا از دخترای جوان که گفتن نه، کره جنوبی امن‌ترین کشور جهانه، هیچ قاتلی نداره، مردای کره بی‌نظیرن، ما آرزومونه با یه به اصطلاح اوپا ازدواج کنیم. من قصدم سیاه‌نمایی هیچ کشوری نیست، نمیگم کره جای بدیه به هیچ عنوان، اما میخوام نشونتون بدم که زندگی واقعی توی کره با چیزی که تو سریالا و کی دراما ها میبینید فرق داره. بی معطلی بریم سراغ ویدیومون. من آناهیتام و به کانال من خوش اومدید. داستان کورتنی مثل خیلی های دیگه شروع شد، پر از امید و عشق. کورتنی دختر آمریکایی بود که از شوهر سابقش 2 بچه کوچیک داشت و بعد مدت‌ها سختی با یه مرد کره‌ای آشنا شد. مردی که ظاهراً خیلی به خودش و بچه‌هاش اهمیت میداد.
I had met him in the US. I had gone to a coin karaoke. These guys approached me outside and said, "Oh, do you want to karaoke with us?" Since it was my birthday, I decided to karaoke with them. A few months to a half a year later, after us officially dating and knowing each other for a year, we ended up getting married. At the beginning of our relationship, he was very charismatic. The first time he met the children, he bought them, toys and brought them to them. We would go on vacations together. We would go to Oido, Incheon, things like that together. So he seemed like he really cared about the children and me.
قرار بود یه زندگی فوق‌العاده و بی‌نقص بسازن و کورتنی پیش خودش فکر کرد که تو بدترین حالت اگه با هم کنار نیومدیم ازش جدا میشن. بنابراین مهاجرت میکنه، اما مدت کوتاهی بعد از شروع زندگی مشترکشون اتفاقاتی افتاد که حتی فکرش هم نمیکرد.
If I'm going to get married again, this seems like a person that I can trust and I really care about. I'll give it a shot. Worst case, I can move out of the apartment. I never expected, things could take such a drastic turn with everything. So I really noticed his attitude started to shift a lot after I got pregnant. And then it got to the point where anything that I didn't agree with him on, he would say, "I'm going to kick you out of the house. I'm going to kick you and the kids out of the house."
You just go out.
I'm not doing anything right now.
Just go out. I don't want to see you.
You're going to lose your visa. I'm going to make a false police report against you saying, you hit me or something. And he would call the police sometimes just saying, "Oh, am I legally allowed to kick her out of the house?" with no reason. And they said no. So he would make a reason, and he would call them trying to cause some kind of problem.
خشونتش فقط اوایل کلامی بود، اما به مرور فیزیکی شد. حتی وقتی کورتنی بچه‌شون رو حامله بود مورد آزار و اذیت‌های قرار می‌گرفت که هم جون خودش هم جون بچه رو به خطر مینداخت.
It was when I was 32 weeks pregnant. So he came home, you know, throwing divorce papers in front of me. You know, I'll consider this later, but I need you to calm down. Right now I have the girls in the room with me. They don't need to see this. He started to like keep pushing the paper on me and, you know, yelling in my face. The girls are behind me on the bed. So I ended up locking the bedroom door and, you know, going about what I was doing. There was about a 25 minute video of him banging on the door, screaming in Korean, "I'm gonna kill you."
야, 열어, 씨발놈아. 죽여버릴 거야, 너. 열라고.
Stop! I'm really gonna kill you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make you, you know, meet your mother. My mother had died that July of that year, and, you know, hearing that from the person who was there for you, you know, pretending to comfort you when your mother died, and then, you know, ever since then she's been a punchline, you know, ha, your mother died, you don't have a mother, or, you know, I'm gonna send you to your mother now. I was kind of naive. I opened the door. Next thing I know, the door hits my nose. It left a big bruise there, and he comes in and he just starts pushing me towards the window and the wall. You know, he had slapped me. My daughters were there, and I grabbed the shower hose and I said, "Please stay away from me. Stay away from me." And he grabs it from me, turns it on, and he just drenches me in water. He just starts forcibly removing my pants. And I just remember feeling, you know, really, really gross and, you know, really like ashamed of myself that my kids are seeing this. That's when I really started cramping up, and he wouldn't give me my phone. He's telling the girls, "Mommy's just playing a game. It's just a game, you know? This isn't real." And I kept telling my daughters, "Please come out of the door. Please come with Mommy. I can't leave you here." I finally, you know, just think either I'm gonna get killed here today or my daughters are gonna get hurt while I'm gone. But I bolted to, you know, the local convenience store. I dropped to the floor when I get in there, and she just goes, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And I said, "Please call the police. You know, I don't have my phone." And she, you know, was nice. She covered me in her jacket. She called the police. And when they arrived, I said, "Bring my daughters to me and my phone. He has that, please." And at that time, my stomach really, really was to the point where I knew something was wrong. They asked me, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" I said, "Yes, I do." And they took me to my local pregnancy hospital where my doctor was. They basically said, "You know, you're having early labor contractions. I was really scared. You know, your baby's trying to come out right now. We have to give you anti-contraction medicines for the next 3 days or so that he's not born early." I was, you know, not far enough along to have the baby yet. I'm in there for a day and a half, and that's when they start telling me how expensive these medications are. And I said, "I don't have that kind of money." And then I get scared because you can't leave the hospital if you don't have the money to pay. And the nurses contacted him for, you know, the whole day. He told them and me, "That's not my problem. I'm not giving a cent to you and the baby. I don't care if you're stuck in there. That's not my problem."
حتی بعد از به دنیا آمدن بچه‌شون وقتایی که شوهرش از کوره در میرفت اهمیتی نمیداد که یه نوزاد تو بغل کورتنیه. میکوبیدش به دیوار، گردنشو فشار میداد و میگفت آرزو میکنه که بمیرن. با این وجود هیچ کس کمکی نکرد، حتی مادر شوهرش که انتظار میرفت مداخله کنه.
I knocked on her door. I said, "I need to talk to you. You know, your son keeps doing this." She already knew. When she picked her grandson up, there was a mark on my neck, and she basically said, like, "Did you do anything to make him do it?" "Well, that's not like him. Did you do anything to make him do it?" And I remember, you know, just sitting at their table like this that night, trying to cry but not show them, because I was afraid, oh, I'm with these people. What is their family like if he thinks this is normal? What if they don't let me leave the house with the baby?
متاسفانه نگرانیاش به واقعیت تبدیل شد. شوهرش برای اینکه از خونه بیرونش کنه و بچه رو بهش نده صحنه سازی کرد که مثلا کورتنی میخواد پسرشون رو بدزده. به کورتنی گفت میتونه بچه ها رو ببره مدرسه، اما یواشکی ازش فیلم گرفت، زنگ زد به پلیس و به دروغ گفت که زنش داره با بچه ها فرار میکنه. جدا از اینکه واضح بود کورتنی فقط بچه ها رو برده مدرسه و برگشته، هیچ فراری در کار نبوده، پلیس بازم طرف شوهرش رو گرفت. نهایتاً یکم ماه می اوضاع بدتر شد. کورتنی رو تهدید کرد که به کودک آزاری متهمش میکنه. یه بحث الکی راه انداخت و در حالی که بچه توی بغلش بود هلش داد. به محض اینکه کورتنی عصبانی شد شروع کرد به فیلم گرفتن.
You're not taking my son. And look at this. I'm not hurting him at all. Stop. Get off of my stuff! Don't touch me!
توی یه نقطه کورتنی برای اینکه دورش کنه بهش سیلی زد و شوهره از اونجایی که داشت فیلم میگرفت تظاهر کرد که خیلی دردش اومده و کتک وحشتناکی خورده. وقتی پلیسا رسیدن نقش قربانی رو بازی کرد و گفت که زنش مورد آزار قرارش میده، اما تمام اینا رو برنامه‌ریزی کرده بود که نقشه های بعدیشو عملی کنه.
They like wrapped their arms around him and he just started like shaking and, you know, pretending to cry about me hitting him and acting like I had been, you know, the abusive partner. He basically said, you know, I have everything I need now to get a divorce. You're not going to have the baby for too long, but watch the baby for the day. After I went to work, I went to the police station. I said, I really want to go to a shelter. I don't feel safe in my home. The police officer involved, I don't remember his name, but he brought 2 family violence counselors into the police station. I had gone there with just, you know, my son alone. The 2 ladies come, we sit on a sofa just in, you know, one of those talking rooms. At that time I was kind of struggling with holding the baby and everything, so the other counselor had offered, you know, to take my son off my hands and just hold him for me. Next thing I know, I look over and, you know, she's going out the door, and I had this eerie feeling, but I didn't really know what had happened until I walked out from talking with the other counselor. She had handed my son over to my mother-in-law, my husband was there, and she starts moving my stuff out of the stroller and darting to the elevator to leave. He cannot go with them. I said this, you know, between 5 to 7 times. I said, if he goes with them, they're not going to return him. I have this bad feeling. And the officer, I just look over at him and he's just kind of sitting there like listening to the whole conversation, not doing anything. My husband, you know, is blocking me from reaching out for the baby. And finally, I run out of options. So, you know, I'm looking at my mother-in-law saying, please don't do this, please don't do this. And, you know, I got down on the ground and I literally begged for them not to take my son. And my mother-in-law finally did get out on the elevator. But that day when I got home, I noticed all my husband's clothes were gone. 90% of the baby stuff was gone. The police said, there's nothing we can do. It's not illegal in Korea. You know, the other parent can take their child somewhere else. And they told me all the same thing. They said, you need a lawyer. That's the only way in Korea, you know, you can get your child back if they're taken by the other parent, is to get a lawyer and to do it through the law.
کورتنی حس میکرد خارجی بودنش خیلی رو رفتار پلیسا تاثیر میذاشت. وقتی خشونت رو گزارش میکرد هیچ اهمیتی نمیدادن و میگفتن اصلا چرا داری شکایت میکنی؟ الکی به خودت زحمت نده. حتی چندین بار مسخرش کردن، گفتن مترجمش خیلی پیره و انقدر درخواستاشو نادیده گرفتن تا نهایتا شوهره از خونه انداختش بیرون.
I have not seen my son since May 1st. That's... I'm sorry. I'm just... You know, my husband, the whole time we, you know, were expecting the baby, he, you know, tried to push me to get rid of the baby many times. You know, I wanted my son so bad. I have so many questions, but I just wish, you know, people here would stop treating children as property and, you know, try to treat both the child involved and the parents involved as, you know, human beings. It's just, when I talked to the police and I said, well, what if I had been breastfeeding? They said, oh, well, you would have had to file a form for that, I guess. You would have had to file a form to send milk or something. We can't help you there. That was their response. I got to the point where I stopped trusting people so much and I just had like a lack of love towards people after this and seeing how inhumane it can be, that I would just put in headphones with no music and just walk outside, get my coffee, go right back in for the day, and maybe take a walk at night. But I was just crying every day, you know, every day for a good month. And it got to the point where once the lawyers got really involved in it, I was just like, I can't keep crying every day about it. It's not going to get better if I keep being emotional about it. And unless it's for the case, I don't look at photos of my son anymore, because if I did, I think it would just make me, you know, too emotional. I'm just trying to think that my son needs me, and what would, you know, a 15, 16, 18-year-old or adult, you know, version of my son feel like if his mother let her emotions ruin the case and him not get to have a mother growing up. So, but when I really sit down and think about it, it's hard, you know. I'm never gonna get this time back. I'm never gonna get that bonding time. I'm never gonna get that time that I waited 9 months for as a mother. And when I talk to other people about it, they don't care, you know.
اوایل حتی خرید مواد غذایی براش سخت بود، اما به لطف خانواده‌اش تو آمریکا و یه مرکز خیریه که براش پول دونیت کردن تونست یه وکیل بگیره. موقعی که وکیل دخیل شد، پلیسا ادعا کردن که هیچ پیام یا تماسی از کورتنی دریافت نکردن، در صورتی که شواهد خلافش رو ثابت میکرد. تو اون دوره کورتنی یه سری ویدیو درباره وضعیت و شرایطش تو فضای مجازی آپلود میکرد، اما هیچ تصویر، اسم یا مشخصاتی از پسر تو ویدیوهاش نبود که هویتش مشخص شه. با این حال پلیس کره شروع کرد به تهدید کردنش که ویدیوها رو حذف کنه. پرونده کورتنی منحصر به فرد نیست. خیلی از مهاجرین کره دارن با مشکلات مشابه دست و پنجه نرم میکنن. طی 2 هفته اخیر که این پرونده وایرال شد، حدود 15 نفر مثل خودش باهاش تماس گرفتن. گفتن توسط همسر یا خانواده همسرشون مورد آزار قرار میگیرن و اگه به پلیس گزارش کنن بچه‌شون رو از دست میدن. بعضیاشون هم از قبل جدا شدن و بچه‌شون رو ماه‌ها یا سال‌هاست که ندیدن.
All of these people that are reaching out to me, they're very scared. They don't know what to do. And they can't really go back to their home countries because in my case, I tried to reach out to my embassy. I tried to see if I could get a passport for my son, something originally before this had all happened. And without the other parent's signature, it's not possible. You can't even leave the country to go back to where the laws you're used to without having that signature. So essentially these spouses get stuck here, they get wrung back into the abuse, and then they're left with no help from resources.
تو کره عملاً هیچ قانون و حق و حقوقی برای والدین خارجی تعیین نشده و موقعی هم که بچه از یه نفر گرفته شه خیلی سخت میشه دوباره حضانت رو پس گرفت. علاوه بر این خیلی از زنای مهاجر تو کره میترسن با پلیس تماس بگیرن، چون پلیس در اکثر مواقع به شوهر کره‌ایشون اطلاع میده که مثلا اوضاع رو کنترل کنن. عموما به چشم مشکلات خانوادگی و خصوصی به این قضايا نگاه میکنن و برخلاف اکثر کشورها که اولویت با امنیت و صلاح بچه است، کره اصلا اینجوری نیست. وکیل کورتنی گفته گرفتن حضانت بچه طی پروسه طلاق کار آسونی نخواهد بود، چون دادگاه‌های کره‌ای ترجیح میدن وضعیت بچه قبل از طلاق هر طور بوده بعدش هم همونطور بمونه و چیزی رو تغییر ندن و خب بچه هم در حال حاضر پیش پدرشه. کورتنی در حال حاضر از نظر مالی و روحی تو شرایط مناسبی نیست و تنها برگ برندش مدارکی هن که از خشونت شوهرش داره.
At first, when this all started, I mostly started it because I, just wanted my son back. But, the more people that messaged me going through similar, incidents with their children, I just thought I would rather have it have a good impact on people and motivate change. Maybe a reform in the law, maybe it gets brought to the public's attention how common this is. You see campaigns such as the one in Busan going on where the government, due to the birth rate, is actually promoting these intercultural marriages, and they're wanting and paying money for these foreign spouses to come in and have children and raise them here to help this birth rate. But then yet when we're actually trying to protect those children, when we're trying to live here, they just strip us of that. They don't provide the resources we need. They don't help. They don't take us seriously. And I have to say, going through all this, I felt, less than human, experience that. I hope no one ever has to go through that.
ویدیوی امروزمون هم تموم شد. امیدوارم که کورتنی بتونه پسرش رو پس بگیره. حالا من خودم کم و بیش پیگیر پروندهشون هستم. اگه خبر تازه شد توی اینستاگرام بهتون اطلاع میدم. نظرتون رو برام بنویسید و اگه اولین باره که منو کانالمو میبینید سابسکرایب و زنگوله یادتون نره که پرونده های بعدی رو از دست ندید. مراقب خودتون باشید و تا ویدیوی بعدی بدرود.